Hey guys, Travis Gillespie here. Today we're going to be looking at spheres, and in this first problem we're asked to find the volume of a sphere with radius 9 millimeters, both in terms of pi and to the nearest tenth. Use 3.14 for pi. So the first thing I'm going to do is draw a sphere up on screen because I like to get a visual of what I'm working with. I should probably slide that out of the way just a little bit. I'm going to change pens here, and let's actually split the sphere up into its two hemispheres, and I'm just doing that by drawing a great circle or its great circle around this sphere. Now your sphere does not have to look perfect. Just draw it in terms so that the shape makes sense to you. And I'm going to change colors real quick, and let's get that radius drawn in here, and I'm going to actually just fix that a little bit. There we go. And just draw it straight to the center. You could put a circle or a dot there in the center of that sphere if you would like, and then after that I'm going to put 9 millimeters inside to represent that radius. So we're going to say that the radius is 9 millimeters. So now let's go back and review through this problem real quick, and I'm just going to do a couple of highlights. We're going to find the volume of the sphere in terms of pi. So terms of pi I'm going to highlight, and then I'm going to actually round that to the nearest tenth at the end. I'm going to actually find the volume and round to the nearest tenth. I'm going to use 3.14 for my value for pi. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is write my formula for finding the volume of a sphere. Alright, so the formula for finding the volume of a sphere, it's V is equal to 4/3 pi r cubed. Okay, so now all I really have to do is find the matching information to substitute in for these variables, and the only one I really need right now is the radius. So I'm going to write this as V is equal to 4/3 pi, and I'm going to use pi still. I'm not going to rewrite it as 3.14 because first off I want to solve in terms of pi. So I'm going to use this symbol still, and now all I'm going to do is substitute 9 in for the radius, and we're going to cube that. So I'm going to change pen colors. Alright, so my next step here is to find out what 9 cubed is. So 9 cubed, that's the same as 9 times itself 3 times. So 9 times 9 times 9, and 9 times 9 is 81, times 9 will give me a value of 729. Now I'm going to actually need this space possibly, so I'm going to erase this information and rewrite my formula here as V, it's equal to 4/3 pi times 729. And now since I'm trying to solve in terms of pi, and I still have to simplify this formula some, I'm going to use the commutative property and actually shift the 729 over to the left hand side in between 4/3 and pi. So I'm going to change colors, and let's rewrite this as volume is equal to 4/3 times 729 times pi. Alright, so my next step is to multiply 4/3 and 729. Now I can think of 729. I'm just going to get another pen here. Let's look at 4/3 and 729 off to the side real quick. And let's just think of 4/3 times 729. But I can think of 729 as a fraction, as 729 over 1. So there's a couple of neat tricks I could do here. First off, I could multiply straight across on top, straight across on bottom. 4 times 729 will give me a large value. So the other thing I could do is actually cross simplify the 3 and the 729, because 3 is a factor of 729, which is what I'm going to do here in this case. So this would simplify to 1, and 729 would simplify to 243. 729 divided by 3 gives me 243. So I'm going to change pen colors again and rewrite this as V is equal to, well, since I simplified the 3 and the 729, I'm left with 4 times, well, I'm left with 243. 4 times 243 times pi. Change pen colors again. Alright, so my next step here, I'm going to multiply 4 times 243, but when I do that, I'm going to be solving in terms of pi. So a way of thinking about this, well, 4 times 243, I'm going to have a term below, and of is a keyword for multiplication, so I can put that multiplication symbol here. So whatever value I get for 4 times 243 would drop straight down, and I'm going to bring that pi symbol down here. So when you're looking at this word problem and it's asking you to solve in terms of pi, just think of it as that multiplication symbol. You'll have your term, or your constant term, to the left of the multiplication symbol, and pi, the symbol for pi, on the right-hand side. So 4 times 243 will give me a value of 972, and I'm going to multiply this value times pi, so write pi here. And in fact, I'm going to go back to that symbol. Let's just change colors. So we really have the volume is equal to 972 times pi. And now don't forget the units in millimeters, so we have millimeters cubed. Alright, so I've solved in terms of pi. My next step is to move on and find the volume to the nearest tenth. And in fact, what I'm going to do is get rid of this information. Let's just lasso around here. So it looks like the screen might have jumped a little bit, but not a big problem. I'm going to take 972 and multiply by pi now. But let's take that information up here. So now I have volume, V, is equal to 972, I'm going to wrap that in parentheses, times 3.14 for pi. So when I multiply these two values together, I'm left with V is equal to 3052.08, but I need to round to the nearest tenth. So when I do that, I'm left with V, it's approximately, it's not exact now, it's approximately 3052.1 centimeters cubed. Cool, so now I've just solved for the volume to the nearest tenth and in terms of pi.